The guards knocked earlier, basically have to appear for a safety order in January 2024. My ex, she's basically trying to suppress what I'm about to say, basically, because I'm about to talk about this whole kind of religion thing that we were in and kind of her actions leading up to this. And she's basically saying she's going to imply that I'm harassing her, basically, by exposing her for all the lies that she's had to been telling. So I'm supposed to sit here and take all these lies being told about me, you know what I mean? And then I'm supposed to open me out. And hopefully now in January that the judge will kind of once and for all call her bluff. Because she sent another safety order a couple of years ago to me in-laws to cause trouble, basically. That's all it was, addressed to me. No other reason, just to cause trouble. And yeah, I don't want to say too much about it. She went in on the 13th of September. This is my daughter's birthday, actually. My other daughter's birthday. She was 1. And she went in on her birthday. This is a normal kind of thing. She goes in on birthdays and anniversaries, and that's when she applied for this. And in the lead up to that, then I put up a message that she was after sending me, because I had no contact with her whatsoever now. And I put up a message. She was desperate to try and engage me in some kind of a conflict or argument or something, but I never answered. But she messaged me, basically, trying to get me kind of into an argument, as I just said. And I kind of wouldn't respond. This was a couple of days before my daughter's birthday. Then my daughter sent me a friend request. Now, I'd say it came from her, if I'm being honest with you, because had I accepted it, she would have then said that the child was seeing me post that I was putting up on social media, because this is what it's going to go down to, in court. She's going to say that the child is seeing the posts and it's kind of psychologically it's impacting the child. Do you know what I mean? And that'll cover up her lies. That's essentially what's going to happen now in court, and that's what's being played out. And this is all put together by this psychologist that I've been kind of meaning to talk about. So I don't want to talk too much about my ex, because I've been meaning to talk about this for a long time, and I've been trying to speak about it. So I'm going to start today. And I was home to try and do an interview or a kind of documentary, and it looks like I'm going to make the documentary myself. I'm going to give it a go. I can only fail, so I'm going to give it a go anyway. But I want to talk about this kind of psychologist employed by Waterford Tussle. In 2013, I joined a psychology course out in Tramore. I was living with my ex. There's a load of stuff I won't go into about her, because with this whole kind of court thing, I won't bother, right? But the tutor was inviting us up to his house. He was recruiting for this Baha'i religion. I thought he said he was bi, so I kind of left it go over my head, if I'm being honest with you. And to cut a long story short, anyway, I kind of confided in him that I was with this woman that I met in rehab, that I kind of didn't really love her, if I'm being honest with you. That kind of I was only with her to keep the kids in Tramore, because she was always threatening to take the kids back to Ballymun. And his wife, then he obviously told his wife all this. His wife was also a psychologist employed by Waterford Tussle. So he told his wife all this. So his wife turned up beside this woman's group that my ex was in, and she was pretending to be hanging flyers, and no one kind of took the bait the first week. But she turned up the second week. She's hanging up these flyers, and it was for free kids play dates, relationship advice, and spiritual nourishment. So they were kind of tailored for us. So to cut a long story short, my ex put us down as a family, and her best friend and her kids as well joined as well at the same time. And to cut a long story short, we ended up in this Baha'i religion, recruited. There's no other way to put it, recruited. And I was in it for about 14 months. And I find this stuff hard to talk because it's kind of unbelievable. I am going to talk about this because, as I said, I'm going to make a documentary about it. But after about 14 months, I found this group to be very unethical and very kind of manipulating and calculating, and kind of I thought it was a cult, if I'm being honest with you, and I wanted out of it. It was like they were ostracizing us from our families. They have their own laws, they have their own sentences. They don't tell you any of this. They didn't even tell us at the start it was religion. We were filling out these books. You get the first book, number 1, and you fill it out with all these questions, and kind of you hand it back to the psychologist. And Carrie was her name. Her husband's name was Pat Carrie. He was my tutor, as I said. And yeah, so as you kind of work up, then you're filling in these books and giving them in, and you move on to stage 2, and then you move on to stage 3. But obviously what they're doing is they're profiling you. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what I kind of got the impression. And my ex was actually cutting the back off her mother, if I'm being honest with you. So she knew she had mother issues. And before we knew it, she was in the house morning, noon and night. And I can't really emphasize this kind of enough. I'm going to talk about this in a more kind of calm away, because I know this is on TikTok, so my minutes are kind of limited. But after about 14 months, I had enough of this. Like, it was clearly a cult. They had a kids' day out. They said a kids' weekend day out down in Kilkenny. It was in August 2014. So we went down. When we got down there, then they were selling all merchandise. There were shops down there, and it was on the Kilkenny College. They rent out the place for the summer, for the weekend, and they were all books down there, and they were selling the New Beginning. That's the Bible of this thing. And so it was clearly not a kids' day out, and there was lectures and all this kind of stuff. And the kids were brought off to make pizza. And when they came back, I asked the kids what it was like making pizza, and they said they weren't allowed to make the pizza unless they chanted this prayer over and over again. So it was basically conditioning, is what it was. And then they said we were obliged to kind of stay there the weekend, that it shows our loyalty to this kind of thing. So, like, obviously I wanted out. My ex's friend, she wanted out as well now at this stage. Kind of. And we went to leave, then they said that the gates were locked, that they were locking us in. But they didn't say they were locking us in. They said the gates were locked to lock thieves out, because they look down their nose now at everyone like this. And I don't want to be kind of like pissing all over religions and like each their own and stuff. But I felt this was a cult and I wanted out. So I left. So they basically ostracized me from my family. They would go off on play dates and they don't mix with people aside Bahoy. So I'd be sitting at home. She'd come down, she'd collect her, my ex and the kids. And they bring them off and they'd be gone for the day, and I won't be allowed to interact with my own kids. So this is the thing. And then they put a ban on us having sex, because you're not allowed to have sex with people outside of the religion. And if I wanted to have sex, basically, this is what they were saying, that I needed to convert, and I wouldn't convert, basically. And so I started telling people about all this kind of stuff. And I'm being honest, just started warning people. So they wanted to put a run on me. Now, I didn't speak to these people for about 3-4 months. I never went back to the psychology course. I think I got 10 months into it, and I just couldn't be around this person anymore, if I'm being honest with you. And my father passed away, and then my ex brought these two people to my father's funeral, trying to fuck with my head. And it did fuck with me head, if I'm being honest with you. Like, and then my ex's friend, who would have known my father, like, met him once or twice, like, she seen it, she was like, oh my God, what's she doing bringing them? Because, like, I was really on bad terms with these people. I did not want them. They didn't meet my family or any of this kind of thing. But this is what she done. And when they were at the funeral, then I twigged who these people were. I forgot to mention that earlier. I always thought I knew their wife, Anne Carey. This is the woman employed by Waterford Tussla. And I had an encounter with this woman 10 years before that. It was regarding accusations of sexual misconduct against the daughter of an employee of Tussla and a minor. And I was there as a support witness for the minor. And this happened at Narkina Hospital. We were drove out to the hospital by James Kennedy. He was a Waterford social worker. And as it was taking place, then they were talking about what was after happening and stuff. And then I realised the dates were 7 weeks old. So I was questioning, obviously, why are you only looking into it now if it's 7 weeks old? And James Kennedy, he was saying, there was a shortage of staff and all this kind of stuff. And I assumed that the woman there asking the question was a Bangarda, given the gravity of the situation. And then and it was the day after this, then I rang up James Kennedy and I wanted to know, like, what was happening, like, regarding the whole situation. And he informed me that she wasn't a Bangarda, that she was a Tussla employee. So you had a Tussla employee investigating a Tussla employee. And then the allegations were 7 weeks old. So they could only find in the favour, do you know what I mean, of their own kind of colleagues. Think about that, like, think of how wrong that is. And that woman, that psychologist that done this, was Anne Carey. That's the woman who roped us into this religion. And at that time then, I was informed then that she was going to keep it internal, that she wanted it kept internal. There was going to be no guards, because I wanted the guards involved, obviously. And she decided it was going to be kept internal. And that's this woman's actions, basically. And that woman then 10 years later manipulated my ex and myself into this religion. Now, my ex is still in this religion, and that's who's basically driving all this thing. They don't want me talking about this kind of stuff, because when you think about it, if you have a psychology teacher, my tutor, right, inviting students up to his house, which he was, because I have letters and I'll show you the kind of letters about that, that's grossly unethical. Then you have this woman, Anne Carey. Now, she's the number one person who recruits for this. And if it's religions like this kind of stuff, you join stuff like that, free will. Do you know what I mean? You join, you don't get recruited. If you're being recruited and manipulated into something, there's something not right about it. And I'm going to talk about all this. I just find it hard talking about this kind of stuff, but this is what they're trying to cover up. So you can imagine how unethical this woman is. And the fact that she had contact previously with my family, and then she roped in, like kind of 10 years later, another part of my family into this religion, and then her husband was inviting students up to his house. This was in Claremwood out in Tramore, and kind of, I will talk about all of this more, and I'll talk about the kind of why I found this to be unethical and why I found it to be manipulating. And I'm going to talk about my own experiences, and it's not just like, as I said, I don't want to be just pissing all over any religion or something like that. I'm just going to talk about my experiences in it, and you can kind of make your own kind of minds up. And I'm sure by what I'm after telling you already, you can kind of see how kind of unethical and kind of strange this behaviour is. And this is why you've never heard of this religion before. Do you know what I mean? And I showed that the HSE were promoting this religion. This is about 10 months after I started trying to highlight that this woman was using the HSE to kind of basically, for her own means, to recruit for this religion. And then all of a sudden the HSE starts promoting this religion. No other religion, just this religion. And they're showing the ad. And I know this all sounds crazy, and it must sound crazy, but I'm going to show paperwork once and for all. But yeah, my ex sending me that kind of safety order shite today. That's a third one of them now. No, I have no contact with her whatsoever. I don't ring her, I don't text her. She rang me, I wouldn't answer the phone, being honest with you. But on the lead up to that, she had been ringing me non-stop. She tried to get the child to send me a friend request. She sent me messages. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got a letter actually today off my daughter thank me for I sent up money for her birthday there a month ago. I got a letter today saying thanks for the money that I sent up. So she got the child to write a letter saying thanks. Do you know what I mean? The 14-year-old child to say thanks. So I got that today, and then I got the safety order today, and the safety order had my daughter's birthday, her first birthday, which was kind of the 13th. Yeah, so that's the kind of person I'm dealing with. And I'm not supposed to talk about this stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm supposed to be suppressed into like not speaking the truth, while these people get to lie and corrupt cases like up and down the country. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy stuff. But I'm not going to be silent on it. I'm going to have to watch my words carefully. Like, I'm not harassing, I'm only speaking the truth. If you know, she didn't go to a solicitor. She didn't go to the guard saying I'm lying. Do you know what I mean? She didn't go to any of these kind of things. Why didn't you go there? Why didn't you go to a solicitor? Why didn't you go to a guard? Instead, she's going to go to the courts because this is a psychologist behind her telling her what to do and hoping that the judge will try and make an example out of me and try and stop me from kind of sharing stuff online for people to see, basically. And anything I ever have put up online, I can show a paper trail, or I can show someone that will verify like some event happening or something or other. Unlike her, it's not just hearsay. So yeah, I'm going to try and start talking about this, and I'm going to try and start making some kind of a documentary. It's not going to be very professional, obviously, because I'm doing all this kind of stuff on my own, but I'm going to get it out there. And as crazy as this is, like, just let me explain this story. Like, in that woman in Waterford, Tussle, Dr. Anne Carey, she should be struck off. Do you know what I mean? And so should her husband. He should be allowed to teach psychology after inviting students up to his house. And they can sugarcoat this all they want. I made a complaint about him in 2020, and I was informed that the person I made a complaint to was actually a friend of his. So then I contacted Tramore ETB, and they said I've been informed that the person I made the complaint to was a friend of his, and they sent me out a letter. And I asked them could I see what protocol was taken regarding my complaint, and they sent me out a letter. And it was clearly someone was either writing 2016 on the letter, and they were after photocopying it. Now this was in 2020, so it was clearly after been written in 2020 and then photocopied to make it look like it was 2016. So obviously I wrote back to him and I said this. I said, can I see the properties on the computer, because you can't change the kind of dates on the properties on the computer, and it will show when the file was logged on the computer. And he wrote back and he said, don't contact him ever again. So like that go to show you what's been covered up. But Tussle are up to their neck in all this, and if anybody has Anne Carey anywhere around their case, get rid of them. And as I said, my ex is still in this Baha'i religion, and like I'm just going to like talk about my experiences in it, and you can make your own minds up. And this stuff is crazy, and this is why they like spread all this sexual stuff about me in an effort to try and discredit me and destroy my character. And for the people that went around spreading it, who couldn't wait to spread it, let's be honest about it, they just showed themselves to be corrupt in the first place. So there's a bit of a silver lining there, I suppose. Yeah. So I'm going to start making me videos. They're now more kind of concise. I'll probably have to put them up onto YouTube, because the TikTok ones are pretty kind of short. And yeah, I'll leave it at that there now.
Couple of bits I wanted to add on to yesterday's kind of video. That's why I'm in a different. Basically, I just wanted to point out that I've been speaking the truth, whereas she's been speaking lies, like, and she's going to hide now behind the law, like, and the law are going to protect someone that's have to kind of essentially kind of destroy my life for the last decades. Anything I've spoken about, there's a trail of evidence and there's paperwork to show that she's misleading people and that she's lying. So where's my right to defend myself? Realistically, do you know what I mean? As a man, like, where's my right to defend myself? It'd be different if I was uploading lies and I was lying about her. She could go to the guards or a solicitor. But I'm not. I'm speaking the truth. That's all I'm speaking, like, is the truth. I'm not embellishing the truth. I'm not adding legs to it. I'm not lying. So, like, it's a crazy situation. So now she's going to get to hide behind it. I can't even get a solicitor. And is the law now going to be abused and let someone that's after been proven to be a liar hide behind kind of like the law? Like, that's not what it's there for. Like, morally, if she's lying, she should be called out. Same way morally, if I'm lying, I should be called out and proven to be a liar. Like at the end of the day, one of us is lying, me or her. It's as simple as that, like, realistically, like. And I've offered proof basically to show that she's misleading people. And the proof is like in her own writing, in her own messages, which disputes like her what she's had to been saying, kind of. Do you know what I mean? So like, and realistically, this is about now is me kind of like, after hanging in there for almost 10 years and finally now the cracks are starting to appear, and now that like there's evidence starting to show her actions, and not just her actions, others around her, they don't want this coming out. They don't want this like being exposed. They would rather like basically destroy my life and those around me in an effort to try and provoke me or have me sent to prison. And this is where this is going to go to now. They're going to go to court, and I say to myself now they'll probably try and use this as some kind of like about putting stuff up on social media. Realistically, how do people kind of like deal with people like this? Do you know what I mean? Like, she's going to get to hide behind like the law now. She'll have her solicitors up there. I don't have any solicitors like over the actions, like if a solicitor in Waterford, and cronies of that solicitor down here, like they're all trying to cover up what was done. I've been speaking about this on and off for kind of a number of years. So morally, what's right? Like she's saying now that I'm harassing. How am I harassing her? Like, by exposing her to be a liar. How is that harassment? Like, she's after a lie. She's after destroying my life, realistically, for 10 years. And now that like people are starting to put two and two together and they're starting to see kind of like the lies that she's been telling. And this, as I said, it's not even me like saying X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm after showing messages that she provided herself after what she claims here on a podcast. Like, the law shouldn't be there to protect this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? The law is being abused now, and make no bones about it. Do you know what I mean? Morally, I should have a right to defend myself and expose somebody lying. And morally, she shouldn't be allowed to hide behind the law. She should be held accountable for her actions. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not harassing her. I don't ring her. I don't text her. I'm only putting up my side of the story. That's all I'm doing. But she won't let me put my side of the story up, because my side of the story has evidence attached to it, whereas hers is just her and her hearsay. And I'll probably have to tread carefully from here on in there now. But at the end of the day, like, morally, like, one of us is lying, and it's not me. Do you know what I mean? And the person that's lying should not be allowed to like hide behind the law after finally being exposed. And after to carry on to this person for like almost 10 years, like 10 years, like the actions of this person, do you know what I mean? And now she's going to hide behind the law before anyone finds out what she done. Like, that's wrong. Like, if I have to go to court and face jail to expose this, like, so be it. But it's deplorable that I do have to kind of face these kind of actions. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. Thanks. Bye.